Tanmonani is by PJ Powers. I love the song. The sun will shine on the other side. Guys, let me welcome you on the second episode of Soul Students of Life Part 2. This is Part 2, and today we talk about celebrating failure. Whoa, I'm so passionate about this subject. I'll tell you what. But before I get to this subject, let me tell you what happened this week, guys. You'll remember that we were talking about learning how to spend last week, right? So this is what happened this week. This week, I had this terrible experience. On the 1st of December, the company that I use for Wi-Fi actually deducted their money, which is 500 and something. You know, they took that amount, and I didn't intend. I never intended to use that money to pay Wi-Fi because it was the money that I received for sales. So it was supposed to go to the business account. You'll remember that we are selling t-shirts, legendary t-shirts that cost 300 each t-shirt. So I think I had sold 2 shirts. So this person sent the money on my personal account, and the Wi-Fi took it. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. So it was one of the terrible things that happened. So guys, today we're talking about celebrating failure. By the way, I'm still mad at that. Today we're talking about celebrating failure. How oftentimes do we celebrate failure? How many times do we ridicule failure? These are the very sensitive questions that we have to ask around this conversation. I'll tell you what, I've experienced failure, and I believe as people, as we continue to live, we will always experience that failing curve, you know. So for me, it was more personal. For me, it was more emotional before. But now I believe that I've matured in this subject. I'm actually matured in this subject. But I didn't celebrate it first. But now I celebrate it. You know, first it was actually the opposite. I used to see failure as something that exclude me, as something that, ridicule my intelligence, as something that highlight my the life that is not progressive. You know, I used to think that's what failure is. That's what failure represent. But as time goes on, I realized that I keep on failing. I keep on falling and failing and falling. And I thought why? It's sometimes I would even conclude that maybe I just have to fail in everything I do. I developed a thick skin for failure. But I was not going to be able to live with myself if I didn't learn to celebrate this thing that is called failure. So how did I get to a point where I celebrate failure? I came to realize that failure is not in the process or maybe in the progress of journey or reaching out your goals to devalue. Failure doesn't devalue. It actually adds more value, but it adds value for your next session of learning, you know? So I realized that right now that everything that I failed on, I became good at it. You know, I became good at everything that I failed. I like it when Carol Dweck says, failure is never useless. Failure is actually something that you're gonna use for your next progressive life. Whoa, let me say that again. Failure is never useless. Failure is something that you're gonna use for your next progressive life. So
Modimo how to think to fail just to break. No, sir. Modimo run to advance the kingdom and to prepare you for what is coming. For the momentary afflictions, which are for a moment, produce a working for us far more exceeding eternal weight of glory. If matata of dankarona, if une okatsiba, or matata atlang hoen, hakela ho bola embatilo ho matlafat. Renahana re matlafatsa ke dintho tse monate fela kanti dintho tse mpe di a re matlafatsa le tsona di a re ruta le tsona. In the kingdom there is no failure, but there is only a learning curve. In the kingdom there is no failure. We don't fail in the kingdom. but we learn in the kingdom. That thing that you call that failure is not a failure, but it is a learning device. It is a learning experience. This is the mentality that I want you to have now. Oh God. Verse 44. Even Elisha, the enemies came to surround the camp where he was. Oh, but just as the enemies will come, oh, Mutusi wa Elisha, the disciple of Elisha,